Look, I don't know how else to put this, so I'll be blunt. What you are asking for is literally impossible.
That's loser talk. Remember when people said ships couldn't fly? Now we're zooming all over the place. So don't let crap like logic get in the way of progress.
I'd been stoking the fire when I felt the thudding footsteps of a man sauntering up to the counter. His name was Gallanza, an upstart fighter taking Zega's brawler circuit by storm. The prize pugilist stared me down, said he needed to take his combat to the next level, asked me to forge him an unstoppable spear and shield combo. Sure, pal. I was a blacksmith, not a miracle worker. Then again, I'd only been operating in Folka for about a decade. And in these backwoods, it wasn't like folks were banging down my door to forge 'em masterpieces. Ah, hell. I was still a craftsman. Why had I even picked up the hammer in the first place? I decided to give it a go. Weeks in, and 29 failures later, I presented Gallanza with a shield crafted from rare metals sourced from Tempe. Know what he said? Hiding behind a shield isn't my style. Buddy, do you know what a shield is? You're the one who ordered it. Yeah. Customer's always right. Besides, I was charging an arm and a leg, so it was only fair to give the man what he paid for. As I got to work on Candidate 31, fatigue hit me like a charging quakedile. The repeated strikes of my hammer filled the workshop with a sharp, mellow hum. Ah, that's a nice sound. Very nice. Strong sound. Strongest sound.
Hey, I don't hear any hammering.
I had blacked out, but when I came to, there they were. A mighty set of armor, an even mightier spear, just lying on my workbench. On closer inspection, the armor could be disassembled and attached to the spear. Huh. Not sure how I managed that. Maybe it was the days of strain, or the endless brain fog. But no matter, my hands ached with a newfound enlightenment. It felt like they could forge any weapon to perfection, as if I had finally grown from journeyman to master.
Well, do I have a nose for talent or what? You see what happens when you try? Much obliged for the gear.
Instead of nitpicking my work, my latest customer tossed me a hefty bag of coin. Satisfied, he turned to strut out the shop, prompting me to let out a half-hearted call. I'll, go ahead and cancel the shield, yeah? It should be fine. Mightiest warrior wearing the mightiest armor, wielding the mightiest spear? Yeah, he'd want for nothing.
Hats off to the blacksmith in Folka. The spear he made felt good in my hands. Had some real heft to it. The three pillars of ultimate strength were together at last. My spear, my armor, and of course, myself. So, this is the view at the top. That was no idle boast, mind you. I had hit every martial tourney this skydom had to offer, and won them all! No one in Zega Grande stood a chance against me! That was until a certain someone came along and made me eat my words. There's something off about this woman. The hairs on the back of my neck bristled. I barely lifted my spear off the ground before she was already behind me, the tip of her staff resting on the nape of my neck.
Let's not resort to violence, shall we? Surely there's no harm in having a friendly chat.
The pressure was suffocating. A cold shiver ran down my spine. I raised my hands in surrender and slowly turned to face the stranger.
My name is Lilith, and I lead the Pilgrims of Avia. We seek the fabled land of Estalucia, a utopia for all. Salvation is built by the mighty and the willing. A man of your martial talents could lift up those who yearn for a better life. Raise my banner, and together, we shall usher in a new era.
This utopia of hers was whatever, but the power she exuded was intoxicating. No, not just her. You didn't come alone, did you?
Oh, very good. I would have been disappointed had you not noticed. Step forth, Id.
A scrawny little punk came out of hiding at Lilith's beckoning. One glance told me everything I needed to know. This kid was destined for greatness.
Don't be shy, Id. Say hello.
Id, as she called him, was anything but normal. It was obvious he was still wet behind the ears, but with time and training, kid could certainly reach my level. Oh, scratch that. He'd probably surpass me. And if he grows into half the beast I expect him to be, oh, yes! Hell, even the appeal of Estalucia had sunk its claws into me. So, about this utopia you mentioned, think anybody there's stronger than me? Lilith cracked a smile. More of a smirk.
Fear not, my dear, for Estalucia is home to beings who eclipse even I. It is a land where anything is possible.
Hot damn! My heart was pounding like crazy. I would have been a fool to let the chance slip by. So that's how I ended up hitching my wagon to Lilith's ambitions. See, my plan was simple. Step 1, keep training till reaching Estalucia. Step 2, crush Lilith and everyone else like ants! Only then would I know if I really was the strongest. Oh yeah! I could feel them! Once-in-a-lifetime death matches were brewing on the horizon. And each one would be another step towards shaping my legend! Shortly after that crew kicked our butts in Seed Hollow Castle, the whole damn place began to crumble. After beating a quick retreat, who should I find but Id? He told me about the horrors that happened at the altar.
Mother's objective is to cross over into the astral realm, using Angra Mainyu's power. But it comes at a devastating cost.
Well, well. The cat was out of the bag. I finally understood why Lilith always made me feel uneasy. She's an astral, huh? But at the same time, Lilith was Id's adoptive mother. Raised him since he was a boy, you know? The news had to be rough on him. So for Id to stand as tall as he was, even after being deceived for all these years by a loved one, yeah, I'd say the kid was built different. What are you gonna do now? Asking was just a formality. I already knew what he was thinking. But when your back's against the wall, it helps to put thoughts to words. Focuses the mind on what needs to be done.
We've brought misery to a lot of innocent people. Our recent run-ins with that Skyfaring crew really held up a mirror to what a monster I've become. I want redemption. But if Mother destroys the skies, she destroys any second chance I might have had along with it. So I've made up my mind to stop her.
He'd scampered off before I could get another word in. He just couldn't wait to get back to the fight. Makes me proud. As for me, I was a plain old dumbass who followed Avia for selfish gains. There was at least one silver lining, though. Never would have met my pack of loyal wolves if I hadn't joined up. Was I supposed to sit back and let their homes, their families, friends, loved ones get obliterated? Do nothing as our world vanishes without a trace. Over my dead body. It wouldn't hurt to bump up my match against Lilith. Our duel was inevitable. Might as well bask in the thrill of devastating combat. Yes, I am the ultimate. I am the supreme. I am the astral wrecking machine. While Id became the new handyman around Folka, Maggie and I returned to Seed Hollow to fix the damage we'd caused in the first place. Felt like we had to. We were still complicit in Lilith's schemes, even if we had eventually severed ties with Avia. What's crazy, though, that crew's captain vouched for me and Maggie, sparing us incarceration. It was only right we rolled up our sleeves and returned the favor. I didn't mind lugging bricks and lumber, personally. It was another chance to train, especially since I committed to carrying twice the normal load. Naturally, I burned through my tasks like a champ, which meant I had a lot of time on my hands. A lot of time and nowhere to go. So I went to see how Id was doing. Or should I say, Mr. Fix-Id. Picturing him mending furniture cracked me up. Captain Goody Two-Shoes had definitely rubbed off on him. Actually, freed from the church's influence, it was like he was slowly relearning who he was. Like he'd fought off his demons or remembered how to be human. He'd always have that sour look on his face, though. But when he came home from a quest, that was when you could see real proof of his growth. The locals would swarm him at the dock, cheering with all their might. Seeing that, it was hard not to feel proud of him. Glad you found a place to call home, Id. You always were the best of us. Anywho, I just got done helping the crew out with a job when an old friend came sprinting up to me.
Gallanza, sir! I've been looking all over for you.
Rook had been one of my officers in the Silver Wolf Corps. He and a contingent of former soldiers had also turned a new leaf and joined the relief effort in Seed Hollow. There wasn't any urgent work needed in the city, as far as I knew, but Rook was clearly agitated.
I have disturbing news about the Silverwolf Corps.
Well, that didn't make a lick of sense. After Avia lost its shepherd, the Silver Wolves were scattered all over Zega. The Corps ceased to exist. But according to Rook, a bunch of idiots who were still brainwashed by Lilith's teachings were harassing islanders all over Zega. And they were doing it under the Silver Wolf banner. Now that you mention it, the authorities in Folka did make a number of arrests recently.
Ah, yes. Unfortunately, those suspects managed to escape from custody. They're most likely involved.
The soldiers in the Corps weren't just my subordinates. They were my brothers in arms. If they were still out there spreading Lilith's evil, then I had to step in. Besides, I wasn't gonna let anyone hijack the Silverwolf name and run amok, much less a few overzealous whelps. Rook nodded in agreement. We consulted the legendary informant Zathba on the whereabouts of my rogue wolves. He pointed us to Dali, where they were last seen.
Seems they've been busy recruiting.
Makeshift tents and supply caches dotted the dunes. While some of the faces around the camp were new to me, their uniforms were all too familiar. Yep, those are Avia weapons. This is the right place. I was really hoping the reports had been wrong. That we were dealing with a gang of nobodies. Sadly, I recognize more than a few of my former subordinates.
By my rough estimate, I would say there's one squad per tent. What's the plan, sir?
As if he had to ask. Ready your weapon, Rook. We're charging in and cleaning house!
Yes, sir!
As we looked over their encampment, I felt a pang of guilt. Maybe I should have done more to guide my men after Avia's collapse. Now they were running around like lawless numbskulls. No, man. Time to bring these pups to heel! Who's ready? To battle, Rook! Knock the stupid out of their heads!
Sound the alarm! The wolf sniffed us out!
Throw your lives away if you want, but at least put up a
You
fight!
won't take us without a fight!
You dare turn that sword on your former commander? How far you've fallen.
Orders from Avalon! Deploy all arms! Leave nothing to chance! Avalon? You're kidding me! He's the ringleader of this fiasco?
Silverwolves, at attention! Gallanza's here to... They won't listen to reason.
Like this.
All fossil-eyed raptors! Open fire! You're not leaving this desert alive!
Do it then! Bury me in the sand! Prove to me the strength of your convictions!
We weren't...
The core I remember was 1,000 times stronger than this! Shameful!
Sir, the raptors came from that direction. Let's make haste.
Mercy is for the weak!
Anything less than killing intent won't stop Gallanza!
Long time no see, Gallanza. Is what you signed up for? No regrets?
It doesn't have to end this way, Galcia. We drop it.
I know Gallanza just as well as you do. The only way to settle this is with a death match! I concede.
I've had my fill. Stop this death match!
Silver Wolves, stand down! We need to talk! We've come for one reason. To find the cur who's taken up the banner of the Silver Wolves. This is your chance to speak up. Who's leading the pack?
Not a peep sounded from the browbeaten troops. Guess I spanked the whelps a little too hard. To their credit, they didn't retreat during the battle. It was clear these wayward wolves hadn't lost their doggedness. Question was, what was pushing them to run wild across the skies? Where's Avalan? That made the men perk up.
He's not here.
Let me ask again. Is Avalan in command here?
None of this would have happened if you hadn't backstabbed Lady Lilith. Where were you when Avalan saved us from our darkest hour?
There it was. While I was off helping the citizens of Seed Hollow, my disgraced brothers had scattered to the four winds. Unable to readjust to civilian life, their hopes and dreams were dashed, until Avalan offered them a way out.
Speak. It's time to fess up. What gives you the right to take your frustrations out on the innocent?
That's not fair. No, you're right. We were so caught up in Lady Lilith's teachings, we became blind to our very actions.
Made sense. When Lilith's lies were exposed for the world to see, society condemned her followers. Rather than face the music, these boys retreated deeper into their beliefs, until all they could do was force their views on innocent islanders. The eyes of my brothers fell to me. Felt as if I'd been transported back to the old days. They waited nervously for their former general to say something. Berate them, maybe. But there was only one thing I could say.
Hello. Here are the details. Please come again. Need something?
The moment I turned my back on Avia was the moment I relinquished command of the Corps. Because of that, I left you men to fend for yourselves. Forgive me for failing you.
Sir?
Gallanza turned on his heel and began walking away. The fact that he hadn't forced these men to reveal Avalan's location proved he still valued his wolves. Just as I was about to follow after Gallanza, a familiar face marched up to me.
He's still the same, huh? You could take the General out of the Corps, but you can't take the Corps out of the General.
We just stood there reminiscing as we watched Gallanza walk away. Then, little by little, the men around us started sharing old battle stories amongst themselves. Nearly every tale was the same. Gallanza would charge into the fray, consequences be damned, and swing his spear at anything that moved. Only his signature, "Wahaha, deathmatch this, deathmatch that," could be heard over the din of clashing metal. Keeping pace with him was nearly impossible at times, but no one had qualms following his lead. His roaring laugh inspired us time and time again.
All right, Rook. I'll tell you where Avalon is holed up.
Whatever doubt Galcia harbored before, it was no longer there. He looked like a man who had come to terms with his own demons.
Looking back, everything happened so fast. The Corps was small time when I took the reins. As Avia's operations expanded, so did my humble pack. Eventually, ballooning to the size of a respectable force. But I didn't want my soldiers following orders blindly. Real strength had to come from the soul. And these boys were no different. They had to want to get better. They had to want it so much, it became their drive, their ambition. And only after they had discovered self-worth would they learn to savor their new lives. No matter how I pressed them, tough marches, grueling drills, these men were smiling as I turned them from coal to diamond. Come to think of it, the first time I let out my wild cackle, it was to hype up the troops on the front line. Rook and the boys thought I was crazy, but they got a kick out of it. Before I knew it, it had become my calling card. I'm starting to get off track here. As I was saying, my goal was to create a tight-knit pack. One where everyone could revel in being a member of the Silver Wolves. Yeah, including Avalan. He was one of us, part of the family. But, he was too serious for his own good. If he thought you'd wronged him, he'd cross the sky just to get even. Closing my eyes, I could picture all the times we'd shared. Training through that unholy blizzard, huddling around the campfire for chow, passing around the latest picture scrolls, laughing at the passages, painting a Corps flag, and failing miserably. Oh, even that crabby bastard could muster a grin when he was with the pack. I know he's better than this. After we disbanded, I wasn't there to keep Avalan grounded. Well, now I could do something about that. Lilith's salvation had been pure snake oil, And it was time for old Avalan to accept that. I needed a clue about Avalan's whereabouts. And who better to feed me that intel but Zothba? As I was heading out, a mumbling rook stopped me in my tracks.
Sir, regarding Avalan.
I know, he needs us. We're not just comrades, we're family. And it's our duty to bring him in so he can make amends.
Right. You have my support.
Rook then informed me that Galcia had spilled the beans on Avalan's location.
The bulk of Avalan's forces are fortified on the Pillar of Voyoy.
Avalan, you idiot! Your decisions were getting worse and worse by the minute. It wouldn't have shocked me if you'd been possessed by Lilith's ghost.
Even the men back on Dali are beginning to question Avalan's methods.
That was just Avalan being Avalan. Once an idea got lodged in his brain, the stubborn mule refused to bend, even when he knew he was wrong. But I knew doubt had to be gnawing at him deep down. He wasn't too far gone to see the light, was he?
On the other hand, this information comes from the Rogue Wolves. It may very well be a trap.
Good! That makes it more entertaining. Such tricks didn't matter. The Silver Wolf's mantra was, stronger of will, stronger of might. And this skirmish would be another opportunity to put our creed into action. Besides, Rook had my back. At times like this, I had to recognize the strength in moving as a pack. I'm not gonna leave you out in the cold, Avalan. Soon, we'll be sitting by the fire, trading war stories and laughing, just like old times. When we landed on Voyoy, Avalan and his zealots were already waiting for us. They must have known their secret was out. Saved us the trouble of finding them ourselves. I'm here! Now bring on the deathmatch! I spent the entire flight thinking about the perfect words. But in the end, I figured, why overcomplicate things?
Really, Gallanza? You traveled all this way to issue a moronic challenge?
The man wasn't fazed in the slightest. His doggedness was a blessing and a curse.
This doesn't have to escalate, Avalan. Avia is defunct, and Lilith herself declared us sacrifices. Why do you still hold her in high regard? These wanton acts of desperation are beneath you. You're too prudent to continue this farce.
Rook hit it on the head. The problem was, did it matter if he was right? Logic wasn't gonna stop Avalan. Not when he was being steered by his convictions.
You think I haven't realized that? Tell me, how could we turn back now?
Yeah, he'd been wandering lost for a hell of a long time. Because his general, the man who was supposed to be leading him, suddenly vanished. Listen, Avalan. You and the wolves are still my comrades. No matter what happened, you gotta believe that.
Absolutely not. You abandoned us. Left us to rot.
So, Avalan didn't want to hug it out. Good. Wouldn't have been a true wolf if he did. You run into a problem? You bare your fangs. You give in to instinct. You revel in your own strength. And you chase after that wordless ecstasy that only the heat of battle can bring. I've come back for you, my wolves! Now, show your general what you're made of! Curses! You're better off dead! If you say so. Fight like you mean it!
Evelyn! Sir! You must retreat to safety!
Take it from here!
Pathetic! Quit hiding behind machines, bunch of cowards!
Careful, sir. These machines self-destruct.
Are you even trying? I'm bored out of my mind over here!
Leave us. Just as you were so keen to abandon us before!
What? Waste this warm welcome?
Sir, we'll cover you. Please, retreat!
Damn it!
What must I do?
Martial spear! Stronger of will, stronger of might! Or have you already forgotten our creed, Avalanche?
I die with honor.
You'll be fine. Walk it in.
Paralysis traps. Give them a wide berth if possible.
Great right now. Back to the fight.
Avalanche, will you truly ignore reason?
The walls are closing in fast, Avalanche. Avalanche! Face me like a wolf!
He's here. Release the Tayuitar!
Now we're playing with fire! Bring it! Consume me! Gotcha! Last one! I left me with no choice. Gotcha!
Release Tayuitar Limiters! There's only one man! All units, to battle!
Tayuitar destroyed!
The orders from the general is one thing.
Break ya! Gotcha!
Seeing him is another.
Do I smell fear? You won't beat me, reeking of cowardice!
It's over. Nothing matters anymore.
I was clearly in the wrong, and I didn't need anyone to tell me otherwise. But I could not bring myself to take a step back. It wasn't so much the teachings of Avia themselves I dreaded losing, but rather the memories of the hope-filled days I spent with my brothers. We clung to the empty promise of salvation out of fear that the bonds we had forged were slipping through our fingers. We committed ghastly deeds to spread Lilith's hollow message to the people, but not once did we stop to consider our actions. I was weak, and thus I had given up on myself. Like a petulant whelp wallowing in self-pity, I attempted to kill a man I deeply respected, but he crushed me like the pathetic creature I was. Still, someone needed to stop my senseless destruction. I'm glad it was Gallanza. Go on, finish it. I couldn't have asked for a more fitting executioner. I had nothing left to give. My legs buckled, and I just sat there, too despondent to utter another word.
Stand, Avalan. I'm not through with you yet.
General Gallanza? A firm hand reached down and pulled me up onto my feet. After all the insolence, disrespect, and the threats of violence I had hurled, granting me clemency was the worst thing Gallanza could do. I didn't deserve it.
I should have done better by you. Forgive me.
I raised my head to look him in the eye, and was dumbstruck by a single tear rolling down his cheek. Suddenly, I was overcome by a wave of emotion. Memories of the days with my fellow wolves came flooding in. Damn it, General. Suddenly, I understood why Gallanza came after me. In hindsight, it was painfully obvious. This man was honest, he was unwieldy, and he was crazy. He was pushy and dramatic and loud as hell. But above it all, he was a man we aspired to be. It was strange. For all the melancholy and oppressive sorrow of our predicament, I felt for the first time in a long time a sense of clarity.
Need something?
Avalan and his gang turned themselves over to the authorities in Seed Hollow. I was there to watch the guards escort my old comrades to the castle for sentencing.
On behalf of these men, I sincerely apologize for the offenses committed. Their transgressions came solely at my behest. I take full responsibility.
Very well. Your confession will be submitted for consideration. Oh, and thanks for giving yourselves up without a fuss.
As for the rogue platoon in Dali, Avalan ordered them to surrender themselves to Seed Hollow's soldiers as well.
I suppose we won't get a better outcome than this.
I nodded in silence, watching intently as my former wolves were led away. Brothers, learn from this punishment. And once you've paid your debt to society, I'll treat you all to the best rice balls the skies have ever tasted! Avalan looked back, and as we exchanged nods, he cracked a grin. Finally got through to you. Took you long enough. As the prisoners were led away, they held their backs straight and their shoulders squared. And their faces were as unclouded as the blue skies above. See you when you're out of the doghouse! I gave them my best send-off laugh, so they knew I'd have their backs from here on out, both on and off the battlefield.
Target sighted! Off to our 10 o'clock! Hold your positions! We were back in action. Our line of soldiers stood firm, corralling a pack of territory-hungry goblins away from a docile island village. I had recruited these men, fellow wolves who rejected Avalan's crusade, and forged them into the Silver Wolf Resurgence. Our mantra was familiar. Stronger of will, stronger of might. These soldiers tirelessly fought to live up to that ideal, even as our days were filled with skirmishes to protect the islands of Sega Grande.
Captain Rook, enemy sighted!
Earlier than expected. Cheers rose up from the squad spanning the defensive line. There were other groups, Skyfarer crews, local handymen, who engaged in our kind of work, but they didn't have the numbers to cover the entire Skydom. They needed help tackling smaller threats that could easily slip through the cracks. And we were more than up for that challenge. Protecting the masses against lawlessness was our duty, our new calling.
I call first dibs!
Oh, one more thing. There's even a certain high-flying, spear-swinging, thrill-seeking champion in our ranks, even though he spends most of his time helping out a certain local hero. But when we are lucky enough to be graced with his presence, his boisterous laugh lifts our spirits and crushes the hopes of our foes. Yes, his clarion call is the sound of certain victory. Oh, which reminds me, I mustn't forget to record today's spat either. Because one day, all our wolves shall return to their pack, and they'll need fresh tales of laughter and camaraderie to inspire them.